Hello everyone. On this video, I would like to go over some of the selected questions from the study guide. We will first start with question number 6. On this question, we will need to distribute the -3 to inside of the parenthesis. I will take -3 and distribute. We will have to multiply a -3 with a -6x. This will give us positive 18x. When I multiply -3 with -4, we will get a positive 12. Adding a positive is addition, so I can keep my addition sign. Next question we're going to look at is number 7. This one is slightly different because when we see two parentheses against each other, we will assume that there's a multiplication sign in between. And we are used to distributing from left to right, and this one requires us to distribute from right to left. We will only do this kind of distribution if we have a number that's on the right side where we are sure there's a parenthesis and multiplication in between. I'll take -2 and multiply it backwards in, and we will have -14. Negative times positive is negative. Then we will have negative times negative h is going to be positive 2h. As you can see, instead of writing a positive, I convert that to a plus sign because adding a positive is addition. We will now jump to question 14. On this question, we have some like terms. We want to add them together. We will only add the terms that have the exact same type of variable. So 8a and -3a have same type of variable. Positive b versus positive 4b have same type of variable. But -6 doesn't have anything like to add with it. When combining like terms, we are essentially doing addition for every like term. 8a plus -3a, keep the term with the sign in front of it. 8a plus -3a would be positive 5a. Positive 1b, positive 4 more b makes positive 5b. Adding a positive is addition. Here is my addition sign and 5b. We did not touch -6, so we will copy it down. My next question I would like to go over is 17. This question has a parenthesis sign. We know there might be some distribution, but there is no number in front to distribute. Instead, we only have a subtraction sign. When we see that, we can distribute the subtraction sign to inside of a parenthesis, and it will be same as distributing a -1. If I write my a first, now we're going to distribute the negative sign, subtraction sign, to 2b. Negative times positive 2b would be -2b. Adding a negative is subtraction, so I keep my subtraction sign. Negative times -3c is going to be positive 3c. Adding a positive sign is addition, so I write my addition sign right away. When I look at my terms, there is no like term, so no need to combine anything. Let's also look at question 20. It has two parentheses indicating that we might need to distribute two things. When I distribute, I will remove the parentheses. So make sure that you remove your parentheses after your distribution. On the first one, we are going to assume that there is a positive 1 outside, or just a plus sign outside. On the next one, I am going to distribute the negative to the next group. If I do the distribution of positive 1, we will have 5a minus 2b. If I have the distribution of negative, and negative times 3b is -3b, adding a negative is subtraction. Negative times -5a is a positive 5a, adding in positive is addition. Now we will determine our like terms. A's are like terms. and b's are like terms. 5a, 5 more a makes 10a's. Negative 2b, negative 3 more b's, when we add them together we will end up with negative 5b. Adding a negative is subtraction, so I use my negative sign as subtraction sign. On this page, last question we're going to review is 24. This one has a backwards distribution again. We will do that only when we have two parentheses against each other. We know it's a multiplication in here, and we will distribute the number that's on the right side backwards in to inside of the parenthesis. Negative 3 times positive 3a is a negative 9a. Negative 3 times negative 5b is a positive 15b. As you can see, I wrote addition sign because adding a positive is addition. Negative 3 times c is going to be negative 3c. Adding a negative is subtraction, so my negative sign will automatically turn into a subtraction operation. Let's look at a couple questions on the back page. I would like to go over 26 first. On this question, we have the 3 to distribute, and there is nothing to distribute for 10x, so we will copy it down as is. When I distribute 3 to 12x, that's a positive 3. Distribute to positive 12x, that's positive 36x. 3 times 5 is 15, and they are both positive, so I still have a positive 15. Adding a positive is addition, so I keep my addition sign. Combine like terms. 36x plus negative 10x is going to be positive 26x plus 15. Let's review question 30 together. This one requires us to do distribution twice, and it has two different variables. I have a positive number to distribute, and I have a negative number to distribute. Distributing the positive number will give us 12t minus 18n. Distributing the negative will be negative 9t. That's negative 3 times positive 3 is negative 9. And we will have negative 3 times negative 2n is positive 6n. Now we can look for like terms. 12t, negative 9t, add them together, we will have positive 3t. Negative 18n, positive 6n will be negative 12n. Adding a negative is subtraction, so I turn my negative sign into a subtraction operation. Let's review one of the longer questions on this page. Let's look at question 35 together. We have a distribution backwards, and then there's nothing else to distribute. Let's do the backwards distribution. Negative 3 times positive 8 is negative 24. Negative 3 times negative b is positive 3b. Plus 6b plus 12 minus 10b, we copied everything else down. Now we look for like terms. I know b's are like terms, and the numbers are like terms. 3b, 6 more b makes 9b, and add a negative 10b to it, that would be negative b. Next, the numbers. Negative 24, positive 12, adding together, we will end up with negative 12. Adding a negative is subtraction, so our final answer would be negative b minus 12. Let's look at one of these questions on 34 or 35. They're practically the same. Let's look at 35 because it has more negatives in it. In order to find the perimeter, we will use the perimeter formula. To find the area, we will use the area formula. To find the perimeter, we know we need to do 2 times L, length. Let's call the first one, the longer part, L, and the shorter part as the width. If I have 2 times L plus 2 times w, I will use 2 times the L value, which is going to be 8 minus 12x, plus 2 times the w, 9. We just substituted. Now we can do distributive property and combine like terms. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times negative 12x is negative 24x. 2 times 9, on the other hand, is going to be 18. Now we can do combining like terms. Negative 24x plus 34. This would be the expression for perimeter. We can do the same thing for area, where we will follow the area formula. Area formula is length times width. So all we need to do is multiply length and width together. Length was 8 minus 12x, and width was 9. This is a backwards type of distribution. I will take 9 and distribute that into the parenthesis. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times negative 12x is, of course, negative 108x. And we could leave the answer like this, or it's a good tradition to write the x's first and then the numbers. So you could switch it around to write negative 108x plus 72 as well. Either one of the answers would be correct. Let's turn the pages over. I think we should be good with most of the properties. I want to go over a couple questions on the last page. Let's look at question 34. On question 34, we need to substitute a negative value. When we substitute, we are substituting that for the x value only. Here we have negative 4 squared minus, open parenthesis for your substituted value, negative 5, and that is the x value, and we need to square the x value. The thing with the exponent is that whatever the exponent is touching, number, expression, or parenthesis, will be affected by exponent. So for the first one, negative is not touching the exponent, and that negative will stay up front, and we will be writing 4 as 4 times 4. On the next one, because exponent is touching the parenthesis, everything inside of the parenthesis will be affected by exponent, and we will multiply that part by itself twice. So we will have 4 times 4 is 16, and because of the negative up front, we have a negative 16. On the second part, we have negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. Subtracting a positive is still subtraction, and I can do my subtraction. Negative 16 minus 25, which is equal to negative 41. Let's look at a similar question with the exponents. Question 37 has same type of process. Whatever the exponent is touching will be affected by that exponent. So our base would be negative 2 entirely. And for the first one, we have negative 2 times negative 2. For the second one, again, we have negative 2 times negative 2. For the first one, we get negative times negative is positive. On the second one, we also get negative times negative is positive 4. 4 times 4, 4 minus 4 is 0. Let's look at one more of that type of question where we pay attention to negatives again. Because exponent is only touching the number, only the number will be affected, and the negative will not be affected by the exponent. And on the next one, because the parenthesis is touching the exponent, everything that's inside of the parenthesis will be affected by the exponent. So I can write 4 times 4 is 16. Because of the negative up front, this is still a negative 16. On the second part, negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. Now I can do my addition. Negative 16 plus 36 is equal to positive 20. Next example is going to be question number 39. This is one of the hardest questions. When you see an exponent as 0, that will be always equal to 1. So this entire part inside of the bracket will be affected with the exponent, and the exponent will make the equal to 1, and 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. Let's look at two more questions on this page. Number 40, -3, and we have a subtraction over 2 squared, and this is an order of operation type of question. We will have to do the exponent first. Let's copy everything else same and take care of the exponent. Exponent is only touching 2, so I'm going to write it out. Exponent is only touching 2, and that would be the multiplication part, and I still have 12 and divide by 2 here. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. 4 minus 4, and we can also do division. -12 divided by 2 is -6. Here's my -6 entirely. Now I need to do subtraction left to right. -4 minus 4 is -8. Minus 6 is going to be -14. Let's do one last question. It's going to be 44. When we see a fraction bar separates the numerator from denominator. We will do everything on the numerator and everything on denominator before we take care of the division operation. Fraction bar also means the division operation. Let's look at the top part. 6 times 2 is 12, so I will write this as 15 minus 12. On the denominator, I'll have to take care of what's inside of the parenthesis. That's 8 times this little part. Because exponent is only touching the 2, we will square the 2. 2 squared is 4, and the negative in front will stay in front of 4, and it will make it a -4, and we still have subtraction 7. Let me continue down here. Here's my fraction bar. On the top part we have a subtraction to do. That's 3. On the bottom part we have a parenthesis to take care. 8 times -4 minus 7 is -11. Let's continue. 3 divided by -88 will be our final answer. Sometimes it's okay to have your answers in fraction. Just go through your steps, make sure that you did not make any mistakes with the exponents or subtraction, and hopefully this will help you a little bit with the quiz.